They said it was impossible. They said,
you can't put together the most elite team of comic book reviewers on the planet and do, a podcast or something like that?
Despite all that, today we can proudly announce. Yeah, they were right. We couldn't do it. So instead, we brought you the most vile, ignorant, unprofessional group of comic book enthusiasts we could find. This is Panel to Panel, the Game Rage Magazine comic podcast.
Back again to fucking continue the hard trek to get through this fucking arc of Daredevil from 2019.
Oh my god, dude. It's like I'm ripping my fucking eyes out, scratching and clawing at my corneas, dude, because it has been a real burden to just read through this. Despite how good the story is, the art has not risen to the occasion, but at least the cover's pretty cool for this issue.
Yeah, I will give them this. This cover was cool. It's like, and it's funny because it goes with the thing of like, this is like the Last Supper type of deal, because it's like they're at dinner and everybody's, all his enemies are there. So I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised by this cover.
Fucking Cole North, he's like, come here, you
little son of a bitch.
I don't know why he's doing that, because I don't know if it seems out of character for him, but at least for the cover, it just seems strange.
Yeah. So before we get into number 8 of Daredevil, if you want to listen to all of other stuff, you can go to GameRageMagazine.com. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine, Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag, YouTube, Game Rage Magazine. And if you like music, you can go listen to the All Gas No Trash podcast everywhere I just said, and follow Adam at All Gas No Trash Official. If you also like anime, which if you like comics, you probably do like anime or the manga or some sort of,
the mangas,
things about like that. You can go to listen on Anime Syndicate podcast, which is a wonderful podcast where I basically shit on everything Frank loves, and
Juice Kaisen,
fucking the Apostle Diaries or whatever the fuck that's called.
Apothecary Diaries.
Yeah, fucking Pharmacist Diaries, but I'm also an arson investigator and a fucking cop and a fucking. I'm also a fucking birthing individual, a regular doctor. I also like fucking chemistry. I don't know.
I'm starting to wonder if you're regarded, man.
If I'm regarded? Like, what do you mean by that? What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know. Frank made some good points about like how you just shit on everything. About Apothecary Diaries, as if the character can't have other interests outside their profession.
Well, then they shouldn't have called it the Apothecary Diaries. That was my whole point. Is it should just be about apothecarying.
I mean, Cowboy Bebop was about bounty hunting, but it was also about other things too.
Yeah, but it's not called Bounty Hunter Bebop, all right? Like that was my whole point. So yeah, exactly. Anyways, but if you want to hear that,
if you want to hear that shit, the whole argument, you
listen to the whole fucking argument. But anyways, go to anime_syndicate_podcast on Instagram and follow Frank there, and you can, hear him say how I'm a fucking idiot and I'm regarded.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, Daredevil number 8.
Get rid. If you could do yourselves a favor, go find your nearest cactus and fucking just start jamming this shit in your fucking eyes, because it's painful to get. That might be less painful than actually reading the goddamn issue and looking at the art.
I would much rather take multiple cacti to the face than, maybe you throw a porcupine at me too, like anything sharp, scissors, fuck, whatever.
Drinking bleach. I don't know.
I injected it to kill COVID, like Trump said. So I'm 90% bleach, baby. Anyways, but this cover is all right. But Sharma, Leistein, and Tartaglia can just go fuck themselves. This whole fucking art team is just hot garbage. The way, just starting off with this first fucking panel, I hate the shading that they do. Like whatever that is just this right here. This under shading.
Oh, cross hatching.
I hate that, man. It's literal visual aids, man.
It's like lazy. Cross hatching itself, I think it can be done eloquently or in a proper manner. But this is just like lazy shading.
Yeah, I was gonna say this looks like what you're supposed to do when you start shading. Like it feels like they just didn't finish it. Like they started to shade, but then they were like, we'll
Phone it in.
And additionally, the way they draw this Libris chick, what's her name? What's her first name? Mindy?
I don't remember.
The way they draw Mindy Libris is like, she was, now listen, I'm not trying to be sexist, okay, but she was very attractive, all right? She was, I dare say.
But it's Marco Cicchetto versus whoever the
Right.
artist is for this.
He drew her, as you said, fine as hell, all right? Now,
Well, he draws everybody fine as hell.
right, even Daredevil's fine
Even
as hell.
Cole North, dude.
Cole North looks fine as hell in this.
I'm surprised there wasn't a panel with his fucking meat hanging like.
Yeah, they had several shower scenes with him. They had the chance to do it. Wait. If you look at this compared to this, she looks like frumpy, and she looks kind of like, I don't know, she just looks weird, like not.
She looks pregnant by the
Yeah.
end of the issue, I think.
Yeah,
If it's not 7, it's 8.
Yeah, she does look pregnant. But anyways, we start off. We got her basically recommending some fucking sex book to this. I don't know if she's a mail carrier. I don't know what the fuck she's.
Some fucking Temu Twilight bullshit to this teenager girl.
Yeah, and so then of course the Daredevil walks in, or Matt Murdock. And he's like, oh, hey, what's going on? Like, oh, hey, thanks for this book or whatever, blah, blah, blah. It was great. And he's like, she's like, oh, you want me to get some Braille stuff? And he's like, nah, man. He's like, it just makes me feel I'm at work, like I'm at work. I go to audio. I listen to audiobooks, which I have to say, I do listen to audiobooks. All right? I like audiobooks. It's much better than reading them. It's easier. I don't have to look at pages. And also, I don't really know how to read that good, so.
I ain't read that good.
I wish they made these comics in audiobook format so I didn't have to look at the fucking pictures. I could just hear the dialogue and just get the story.
Plus, you could fluctuate the speed to hear it twice as fast, so you can get through the book twice as fast.
That's true.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
I was in the neighborhood trying to sexually harass
Yeah,
you.
basically that's what he's like. That's what he says. He's like, oh yeah, I was just over here, just wanted to see if I could get some of that ass, basically. And he's like, now that I'm not Daredevil anymore, I need something to do with my time, and fucking sounds good. And she's like, what does she call him? She calls him a retail creep.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is that? And so luckily she goes on to explain what that is. And it's a customer who mistakes excellent customer service for affection and flirting. Which, I will say this. Flirting is not fucking good customer service, all right? There are two different things. You can just be nice, or you can be fucking flirty. Because she was kind of flirty before.
I can't remember.
My opinion.
I can't remember, but the fact that she's entertaining him at all, instead of being something...
Telling him to fuck off?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. You'll see what happens.
Yeah, so then basically he's like, hey, honestly, I am a low-level attractive. I'm a very attractive low-level celebrity, so basically, like, everyone flirts with me, so it's not, I wasn't really taking it like that, but...
Reminding people of his short tenure as a mayor of New York City. Yeah. And then it's pointed out as if fucking Daredevil couldn't get the goddamn hint that she's a fucking married woman. And
yeah.
I just can't. I can't believe he's just gonna go to the store and see what this bitch is doing.
Yeah, like, and then she's like, "Oh, well, you might be the retail creep, but you're my." She's also not playing. She's playing into this hard, which is very. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And so then he smells fucking some pork in the air, and she says, "Oh, my mother-in-law and husband are cooking upstairs." And then he goes, oh, yeah, man, I got them heightened senses, He's like, oh, it really smells good. And she says, oh, yeah, they're pretty good Italian cooks. And she's like, even though you are a creep, do you want to come join us for dinner? And I don't know why the fuck he says yes.
Yeah.
Like, he's fucking doing, he is a creep, all right? Daredevil is a fucking creep, okay? But what he does right here, knowing, A, that she's married, and if he didn't fucking know before... If he was going to maybe fucking try to say, oh, whatever, he clearly knows now. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'd love to come up and have dinner with you and your husband. And then he looks at her face and he's like, he's like, I noticed her heart rate pick up and her face gets a little hotter. He's like, ooh, he's like, this means something.
Am I reading body heat or?
Yeah, he's like, oh, am I reading? Are you about to coom, lady?
Yeah.
Is that what's about to happen here? And then he does admit, he's like, oh yeah, fuck, I am a creep. He's like, goddamn, but he is a creep. Like, he is a fucking straight creep, man. Like, not for this, not for that. For going after a lady who he clearly knows is married. That's fucking creepy behavior.
And she kind of set the boundaries as well. She's like, I have a husband. But
he's like,
but then she also said, you're my creep.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that, dude?
This is fucking mixed signals 1,000%. And I don't appreciate it. So then after that, we cut to this little outdoor
fat body fucking Wilson Fisk.
Yeah, Wilson Fisk. And
what's your name, fat body?
Yeah. Wilson, sir. Wilson what, of Arabia?
So he's hunting with the governor. Is it the governor of New York?
Yeah.
So they're just kind of talking. They're like, I got a plan, man. And I'm done with crime bullshit. I just need to get to selling the marijuanas.
Yeah.
I got a whole plan. I just need you to follow up on it and make it happen. And then the governor's like, well, I know some people that could probably help you out with that. All I can do is get you through the door or inside in the door, and everything else is up to you. But if it works out, we both benefit from it, I think is basically what the conversation amounts to.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, that's the gist of it. Is they're trying to get through this deal to say, hey, we're going slow, bitch. But like, there's a reason for that. It's because I got to pay everybody off. I got to get everybody all on board because like we have to hold down the competitors because the major weed corporations, we can't go national just yet. Like we got to fucking like. We gotta slow our roll here, player, because all these major companies are gonna come in and they're gonna fucking just kill us all. Or undercut us, I should say.
It's kind of amazing that this story is talking about how organizational crime happens or how crime happens at the political level, that it makes it seem as though policies that are created are solely for the benefit of one party or a couple parties, and it's Wilson Fisk and I guess the mayor.
Yeah.
Or not the mayor, rather the governor. So if this thing were to come to fruition, okay, yeah, they're going to make a bunch of dispensaries and shit, but it's only for the benefit of Wilson Fisk, and it's not for anybody else. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. And so then the governor's like, oh, I actually had my snipers all set up in the woods behind us just, in case things went wrong. And when Fisk is like, yeah, man, I know. I had my guys behind your guys the whole time. And then he's just like, oh, what the fuck? I will say it kind of pisses me off because like they're duck hunting, right? And I don't know. These fucking they're using rifles, okay? And they're using like what it looks to be like
musket rifles,
World War I era bolt action rifles, okay? And,
bolt action, yeah.
Yeah, you don't fucking hunt duck with a bolt action rifle. Now, I will say this: I do have like a bolt action octagon barrel from like the 1800s. It's like it's a 20 gauge shotgun, so that like could be what they're using, but. It's like that thing I have is like a 26-inch barrel because you have to have like this super long barrel to be able, like the gun's long as fuck. Just because to be able to shoot a duck from like however long, you need the shot to stay, the bird shot to stay like fairly close together. And I think they're just using regular like whatever 7.62 fucking rifle rounds, which would explode the entire duck. There would be nothing left of the duck if you hit it with a fucking 7.62 round. So I know that they probably don't know shit about like guns and stuff, but it's like, man, somebody couldn't just look this up right quick.
I don't know. That's a lot of fucking bullshit to look up for a gun to just have it be accurate for a page or two. Because I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
But I appreciate that kind of stuff. I appreciate, oh man, like these guys know what's up. Like, oh, that's cool. I got taken out of it the second I noticed that. Now, granted, I'm not like most fucking comic book nerds. Most comic book nerds probably wouldn't You probably wouldn't have even fucking noticed this.
I could care less.
Exactly.
Honestly.
But it bothered me a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to point that out. It just bothered me a little
All
bit. It
right.
pissed me
Well,
off.
shit, man. Now I'm gonna pay attention to see if Marco Cicchetto, if Punisher comes back.
Yeah, what he uses.
What he uses, like if he's using fucking submachine guns, like fucking Uzis or whatever the fuck for him, and then we could talk about if fucking Marco Cicchetto is.
Well, maybe it's not even him. Maybe it's the guys drawing this shit. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's him fucking. He's just writing the story. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Marco Cicchetto's the artist. Chip Zdarsky.
Well, that's right. That's right. Sorry, yeah. Cicchetto, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think these guys maybe, like, obviously they draw shitty, but also maybe they also don't know guns and they're just like, oh yeah, they're hunting ducks with rifles. Like, oh yeah, that's fucking idiot. But anyways, so then after this little sequence, we flop back to the apartment above the bookstore.
Wait, before we even get to that.
Oh yeah.
I like how, well, not that he necessarily has it to the T, but it feels like a safari outfit, like Wilson Fisk. And then that bit about where he's like, oh, I had my men behind your men, and he's literally standing behind him when that conversation unfolds. I did appreciate that.
That was cool. I did appreciate that too.
Chianti, fucking Silence of the Lambs, dude.
A Chianti with fava beans.
Yeah.
So then that's what Daredevil brings. He brings a Chianti, and she says, "Oh, did you have any trouble finding this place?" And he does this stupid laugh because he's like, "Well, yeah. How many people actually live above this fucking bookstore?" And she's like, "Oh, everybody." And it's like his fucking it's her husband, her mother,
her mother's
mother.
Her daughter and her fucking brother-in-law.
Her daughter and her brother-in-law who lives there when he gets kicked out of apartments, which I thought was also pretty funny. And then the brother like talks to him. She's like, "Oh, this is your surprise guest," and he's like, "Well," and he's like, "Oh, you didn't tell me he was blind," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not deaf though." that was a good line.
Yeah,
I got to give him that. That was a good fucking line. And then obviously you see this little shit kid here with the fucking covered in chocolate all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Oh, hey, Tom," like the guy who's the fucking husband. This is the guy what's her name invited over. And then you see that they zoom in on the guy's face, and he's just like,
cold look at him. No dice.
And fucking Daredevil's like, "Oh shit!" Like, I hear him go to confront Mindy. Oh, they're fighting, and he's like, "I don't know. There's accusations. There's this." He's like, "I should just get the fuck out of here." And he's like, "Oh, Ma, say hi to our dinner guest, Matt." And then she finishes the line, "Murdoch, huh? You know this guy?" And then she's like, "Oh, you didn't know that he was the former mayor, formerly deputy mayor, formerly assistant district attorney." And then it's like, okay, Izzy Libris has like her name on there. Like Daredevil's like, "Izzy Libris, fucking son of a bitch."
One of the characters that was introduced in the previous season with the crime lords of, well, I don't know if it's just Hell's Kitchen itself or it's just other parts of New York, but she's one of them.
Yeah.
So they're serving her husband, was it Tom? Yeah, Tom Libris.
Yeah.
Serving fucking dinner, and they have the special guest, fucking Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
And awkward as fucking hell.
Oh yeah. You know what I hate is how they make his head look smashed. Like they like the fuck is up with that, man? Like
I don't know, man.
And then he's like, "Oh, nothing's too good for our special fucking honored guest." And so they put this nice little fucking pork loin roast out. Man, that does look fucking good, man. I will say, even though it's drawn horribly. I mean,
it looks like a wood log.
Yeah, it does. It looks like a wood log that they just took off the fire. It's like smoking and shit. And then Daredevil's himself internally monologuing. Wait, monologuing. Yeah, internal monologuing. Oh fuck! I'm having dinner with the Libris crime family. Son of a bitch.
As if he couldn't piece it together that the Libris fucking bookstore.
Yeah, what a fucking idiot.
Or that the woman's name was Libris or Libris.
Yeah. And then, so he's like, "Oh, you sure you don't want any wine?" And he's like, oh, you brought this really nice bottle and you don't even want any. He's like, and then this is the brother-in-law. And he's like, I don't know about this wine. You know what I'm saying?
Dude's trying to like try hard as being a mobster, like pretty much the entire issue.
Yeah.
Already suspicious of Daredevil because he was district attorney and also former deputy mayor, and also forgot what other bullshit he did. But this is where the art turns for the worst. Like, what happened, dude?
She doesn't even look like the same person, man.
No, she looks like a pregnant woman, dude. What the fuck happened?
Where'd her chin go? Like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ, man. So they start going into this whole thing about the law, and then it's funny because her husband says like, "Oh, it must be nice to blindly follow something." No pun intended.
Yeah, he gets a nice little fucking jab at him for some reason.
For some reason, fuck that guy. I'd have been like, dude, listen, I'm telling you right now, if Katie brought home some dude to dinner, I'd be killing that guy later on. Like he'd be in the woods later. All right, like that's just the bottom line. Like you don't do that. I don't give a fuck who you are. Stab you in the face, you son of a bitch. Anyways. So yeah, he's going on talking about how he likes rules, and he's like, oh, people did this before me to make this fair and equitable system. And then this is where it gets very good, very interesting.
Yeah, it does.
Because the mom, what was her name? Izzy?
Yeah, the Libris family's
the head.
So Izzy's very familiar who Matt Murdock is as a public servant. But she asks, like, oh, do you know who I am?
Yeah.
And then he just fucking dumps on her all the info that he knows about her, which you can elaborate on.
Yeah. He goes into, oh, you're the alleged head of the Libris crime family. And he's like, some say your mom sparked the war between the Italians and the Irish in the 1970s, paving the way for her small operation. And then he's telling himself, he's like, oh, shut up, man. Go quit saying this shit. Come on, stop saying this.
Shouldn't have said that. And
then he goes on more about how, like, oh, you've never had any major arrests, all these assaults and possessions of weapons and you try to pin some tax fraud on your cousin, but like, that's it. He's like, oh, all the gambling, shakedowns, extortion, guns, counterfeiting. He's like, oh man, the feds have been trying to get you guys for fucking years. And the current head is you. You're too smart for that though. Lavidia would have gotten her hands dirty, but Izzy Ibris knows better. She keeps contact with illegal activities at a remove. So like one layer of security or two between her and the actual crime.
Yeah, and this is something that I think that the Owl or Owsley guy was saying that she's been doing her shit sloppy, but she's actually been doing it smart.
She's been doing it the cleanest out of all of them, to be honest with you.
But he wants to invade her territory so that he can just be the kingpin of New York as far as crime goes.
Yeah, because he's an asshole.
But now we're getting kind of the exposition for the Libris family, specifically Izzy, which is she goes on and pontificates that the reason that crime exists in Hell's Kitchen, or why she even operates the way that she does, is because crime affords people the opportunity to have housing, and it kind of equalizes the playing field because the rules as they are only benefit the rich and the privileged. And she believes that crime it equalizes the field for the common man.
Which I thought was I was like, oh man, that's an interesting viewpoint, but it's very well played out. Like, that's a good talking point.
It's fucking interesting as shit, but it's ironic because she's the one benefiting from it the most.
To maintain her wealth.
To be in a position of wealth and privilege.
Yeah. Which is funny, and basically, they're talking about equality, right? He talks about equality, and he's like, man, that's funny. He's like, you want to talk about equality? This whole city is inequality. He talks about growing up, and he's like, man, I saw all these fucking rich motherfuckers come in, swoop up shit, get people out of there, hike up the rents, get everybody fucked off. And he's like, oh, and all their lawyers like you with their $1,000 suits, they fucking throw the book at guys just trying to get by. And
I think I think this is all fair. These are all fair points.
Yeah, they are fair points. And they're talking about like the rich feeding off the poor and just it keeps them down. They keep them down and then they push them out, which, I mean, that's a very valid point. That is very, very valid. And she's like, hey, do we use violence? Yeah. You know, it's the violence that makes the news. And but there's larger violence at play. The worst violence is being done by the government and the people who control the government. Telling everybody that they're okay. And man, if you only worked hard enough, you could have all this stuff that we have. Which to me, that's the ultimate lie of society, is the people at the top of the game saying, oh, if you just work hard and you go and work your 9 to 5, you can have this one day. No, you can't. No, that's not how that works. The only way you get out of that is by not going and working a 9 to 5. That's how you get that shit. So basically, Matt Murdock's like, you know what? You're delusional, bitch. Like, you guys are not the heroes, essentially. And this is the world that we have, and you can't just make up your own shit. And he basically says, you just can't walk civilization back and do what you want through violence and intimidation, right? Which, I mean, yeah, you can. You can do that. Because again, like she's going back to say is, I like, she says like, oh, that's just liberal hogwash. Like you're just a liberal. Why don't you go back to do your liberal activities or your liberal lifestyle, Matt Murdock?
Which is funny coming from Matt Murdock because he also doesn't believe the rules apply to him because he's anointed by God or some bullshit excuse that he thinks that Catholicism affords him.
Yeah, he's a straight hypocrite. I mean,
but it's just funny hearing it from him.
And so basically she goes on to tell the story of her mom and how she got in or how she became, what she became. And she talks about how her husband was the numbers guy and but this guy had a big mouth. So he basically got himself killed like too early. And he was going around saying that like, oh, his wife was the real numbers guy. And basically
she ran a poker room.
Yeah, so they gave her this poker room or gambling room, and all these assholes didn't fucking like it. And so they basically fucking got her up, broke her heels, they beat the shit out of her, and she was pissed. So she goes on to say that basically her mom invented the cement shoe thing.
Yeah, that was cool.
Which was pretty fucking cool. And she's like, oh, you ever heard of that? And she's like, that's a lot of hard work you gotta do. Because one of the things you gotta do is you gotta wait for the cement to dry. And what do you got to do? You got to either drug them or knock them out every single time they wake up so they sit still and let the fucking shit dry. And she's like, that's why nobody does it. But she wanted to send a message. So that's why she did it.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
that's my favorite part.
She's like, allegedly. Allegedly. And so basically, she's like, well, she solved the problem. Nobody fucked with her after these guys got their cement shoes fucking tossed into the river. And basically, she says, that's human justice. This is what real justice is. And again, hypocrite-ass Daredevil, oh no, you've gotten away with this for decades.
You're going to pay, bitch.
You're going to pay. You can't outrun your own violence. Well, you know what, Daredevil? Neither can you. Neither can you, as evidenced by Spider-Man telling you to hang it up.
Yeah.
Basically. And then she says, well, maybe I wonder sometimes if we should pack it in and, Old Fisk knows about that. And then she's like, oh, he gave up his empire. Like he's now basically legit or whatever. And she's like, if you want to make real when you want to stop making some real motherfucking money, bitch, you got to go legit. That's where the best crime happens is when you do legit crime. And fucking Daredevil was like, oh, what? No, he couldn't have not just decided not to be a criminal anymore. What the? Oh. And then he's like, oh, her heartbeat, it's the same. Oh, there's no lie here. Son of a bitch. And then obviously this dude loses his mind and he looks like he's about to Hulk out with his green fucking shirt on.
Dude, look at his arms compared to his what the fuck,
yeah,
dude?
Man, it's completely disproportionate, dude.
Yeah, it's and his eyes are bulging. He's bug-eyed. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, it is real weird. And he's yelling at Daredevil. what was her name? Mindy. Mindy. She's like, oh, sit down. And then the husband Tom's like, yo, shut the fuck up, bitch. This is all your fault, basically. And Daredevil's like, I gotta. He's like, wait, what was that? And he hears some noise.
Bullets
just cracking through the window. And Daredevil fucking grabs the baby and fucking runs to the floor. And then he chucks the fucking wine bottle at the chair and breaks the chair so that the grandma fucking falls to the floor. And he's like, oh, well, just broke her hip. And he's telling everybody to stay down. And the brother-in-law got hit. And he's like, oh man, he's like, I see that they, my radar has shown that they're moving through the broken windows. They're going away. But he's like, I don't know, man. I can't let anybody run after him. And then of course, Tom, I'm gonna fucking kill these assholes, runs after him immediately. And they're looking through the, they're looking at the brother. Daredevil's looking at him and he's like, oh, where was he hit? And he's like, oh, in the back. And it went through his below his shoulder. So he's like, oh, good. I'm Daredevil. Now I'm a doctor. It went through and through. Perfect. Like, let's keep pressure on it. Now I need to call 911. And she's like, and then the grandma's fucking laying there. Yeah, please. No, it hurts. I thought she was going to do Force Lightning at the end of this because she was doing that whole Palpatine thing. Like, oh, please, I'm just an old man. And then fucking, limited power.
Fuck no, it's Life Alert, dude.
Yeah. Which would have been
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Can't get up. So then basically we get to the whole thing where now everybody's getting loaded up in the ambulances and
trying to find the perpetrator.
They're trying to find the perpetrators. And then the cops are asking him, like, what's your relationship to the family? And he's like, oh, I'm a customer. And they're like, hey, do you know about these people? That this is their Libris crime family? And he's like, oh, yeah, I do now. And he's like, well, you appear to be fine. So
but we got questions for you.
We might have some questions in the coming days. And he says, oh, he's like, shit. He's like, somebody's walking my way and there's nothing I can do about it. And it's fucking old boy fucking Cole North.
Who whooped his ass.
And he's like, hey there, buddy. I got a couple. I also hate how he's like, what is
cockeyed? Like,
what is wrong with his face,
I don't know, dude.
He's like, oh, it's the cop who beat me, figuratively and literally. And he's like, oh, yes, officer. He's like, oh, sure, you Matt Murdock? And he's like, yep. And he's like, huh, strange to see you with these people. But you once represented a man who sued the vigilante named Daredevil, yes? So wait, he fucking represented a guy that was suing him as Daredevil. That's pretty fucking awesome.
It's kind of funny.
Like, that's pretty hilarious. So he's like, yeah, I've had a few encounters with the Daredevil, but that guy's dead, right? He's like, that's what people are saying, but he's still out there. He's still around. I'll get him eventually. And they're just trading shit back and forth a little bit.
And he recovered a mask of some random person trying to masquerade as the fucking Daredevil because apparently people have gotten inspiration for him to fight crime or take justice into their own hands, much like Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
And then Owlsley, oh shit. I don't know if there's anything else to add about those.
No, I mean, he just said that we recovered the civilian's body from 2 blocks from here. The guy was dressed normally. And so...
fucking Owlsley lights a motherfucker up, dead.
Lights a motherfucker up.
Oh, so he killed the assassin.
Yeah, he killed... So clearly he had this guy fucking go try to assassinate them. Yeah. And then he kills him to cover up the loose ends.
Couldn't get the job done.
And then they just end the fucking... he ends the thing like... why won't he die?
Referring to Daredevil himself, that this idea of Daredevil cannot simply be destroyed.
Yeah, it's like the Batman thing, you know? you kill the guy.
Hope for fucking Hell's Kitchen. So, not entirely the worst issue. I think the story, again, is the highlight.
It's picking up.
The meeting of Matt Murdock, a public servant versus a crime family, it made for an interest. I can't believe he walked away alive, dude.
Yeah.
Real fucking interesting.
Very fucking interesting.
So.
Anyways, so this next cover looks pretty interesting. So I guess we'll see what the fuck happens here. But anyways,
Matt Murdock is a fucking horrible Catholic.
He is. He's the worst fucking Catholic, man. Anyways, all right. Well, that was the end of it. You got anything else to add?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right, cool. So anyways, If you want to follow other stuff, you go to GameRageMagazine.com. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine, Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag, YouTube, Game Rage Magazine. All Gas No Trash official on Instagram. If you want to follow Adam and go listen to All Gas No Trash. Anime_Syndicate_podcast, and you can go listen to that's also on Instagram. And you can also go listen to the Anime Syndicate wherever podcasts are available and all the places I just said. That's it for us. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
That was Panel to Panel, the Game Rage Magazine comic book podcast. Thanks for listening. If you want to know more and follow along, go to Instagram and TikTok. Follow at Game Rage Magazine. If you want to follow on Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag. Tune in next time.